Good morning. It's a beautiful day here in Lafayette, Indiana, and we're going to do another episode of Cooking with Gigi. So anyway, I'm going to make some Parmesan zucchini rounds. Zucchini is a very healthy vegetable, and it's something I've learned to eat more of since I've been trying to do low carb, because zucchini has very few calories. It's something around 50 calories a cup, so that's pretty decent, I think. Okay, so I have already ground up my Parmesan cheese, and I did use this little gadget right here to do that. I purchased this on Amazon. I put my Parmesan cheese in and I just cranked it up, and I grated up all of this Parmesan cheese from one little triangle of cheese. That's pretty decent, I think. And I always grate my cheeses now. There's been a time I didn't, but now I do, because I've heard about the flour that they put on the cheese that's already grated up in the packages, which makes it not melt as well. I probably will tell you that a lot because I think that's an awesome thing to know. Okay, so I have over here my zucchini that's been sliced. It calls for 3 zucchinis, and I actually only am going to use 2 because it's just me, and I don't want to have too much zucchini around. Might get tired of it. Okay, so I need to step over here to get my olive oil. I guess I forgot to pick it up and bring it over here. Okay, so it calls for a couple tablespoons of olive oil. And I use extra virgin, and I think that's what it calls for. So I'm gonna do my olive oil in my big bowl. So there's one. Whoops, I want you to see what I'm doing, so I'm gonna back that off a little bit. So again, this is just something new I'm doing, so I'm still learning how to make this work. Here's 2. Okay, 2 tablespoons of olive oil. All right, now then, I also want 2 cloves of garlic. Now, sometimes I do like to chop up my own garlic, but I've also used this wet garlic from time to time, and I'm going to go ahead and put what I think is 2 cloves of garlic in there. That looks like about 2 cloves of garlic. Okay, or a little more, haha. Okay, then we're gonna use some salt and pepper. So now I'm gonna put in a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. So here is my 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Okay, I'm gonna double check that. You know, my vision isn't what, yeah, that's right, isn't what it used to be. Okay, there's the salt, and then the 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. So here comes the pepper. And I kind of like pepper, so that's good. Glad it's in there. I probably would have put it in if it wasn't. All right, now you can also use some pepper flakes. Now, some people might not want that. I tend to like spicy stuff. It just says it's optional. So I'm gonna put in about a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper flakes. Okay. Now I'm gonna take a spoon and stir that all up. I'm getting it all stirred up here. Got your olive oil, your salt and pepper, pepper flakes. Now I have already prepared a big cookie sheet with parchment paper. It's recommended. So I will set that right there. And by the way, everyone, I'm using my beautiful chopping block here that my son Todd made me. He's really into woodworking, and he can make some beautiful items, and he made me this chopping block that I love. Okay. Now then, I'm going to just start dropping some of the zucchinis into the bowl, like so. And I'll go ahead and toss them around in the bowl. You know, I don't recall when I was growing up my family ever really using zucchini. I think maybe my dad did grow it. I don't know for sure. I'd be interested to know that. But anyway, if he did, I wasn't that into the gardening scene then. There was 5 of us kids. I have a sister that's older than me. Her name is Sandy. Then I have 2 brothers that are younger, and they're twins. Unfortunately, we've lost Gary, one of our brothers. He passed away about a year ago. And then we have Larry, the other twin. He's still here in Lafayette, Indiana. And my younger brother, Ingram Michael. Of course, I call him Mike, but a lot of people know him as Ingram, and that's okay. So anyway, we've always been a pretty close family. I'm very lucky to have that. Very kind family members. So I'm going to have to check with my sister Sandy. She would probably be the one that would know. Did they grow zucchini? I'm not sure. But I have tried to grow zucchini. This year, my zucchini did not do well in my garden. Overall, my garden didn't do well this year. So that was kind of upsetting to me because I like to be successful in things that I do. But oh well, I think we all do. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my hands and I'm going to take this cheese and I'm going to coat. Now, it recommends sometimes that you just sprinkle it on. But personally, I kind of like to dip it in. And I think what I'll do is get a different bowl so I don't ruin my cheese because I'm not going to use all this cheese. So I'm going to put some of this cheese in a bowl that I'm going to contaminate right there with this dish. Okay, and each one of these will go in. I will cover them up with some Parmesan cheese. Now, I tend to put them pretty close together. What happens is they will stick together a little bit, but when I make them, I like them to be really crisp, so I let them get really brown. And what I do is usually take, if I don't use parchment paper, I'll take a spatula and just kind of get under it. And I feel like I'm having almost like a snack, almost like potato chips when I eat these. I feel like it's just so yummy. Especially when you can't have that kind of stuff, this really helps. And keep in mind that it's a little salty because, you know, cheeses are salty. Okay. And if you guys want to give me comments when I'm doing this, I would like to learn from whatever your suggestions would be. I won't be offended. So I'm hoping to keep doing this for a while. I find it entertaining and I'm cooking a lot anyway, so why not? You know, I don't know how many people would feel comfortable doing something like this, but I'm sort of an outgoing lady that I love people and I like to talk, as you can tell. I get that from, I think, my dad because he was quite the talker. I always think back to things about him because he did teach me a lot. And that was where I got the phrase, plain talk is easy understood, because that was Dad's thing, he would say. You can talk plain so that people know where you're coming from. You know, don't make it impossible for them to figure out what your thoughts are. And again, just be kind when you're doing that. So my grandpa was a preacher, and he started like 42 churches, I think. And there is actually a book about him called The Hillbilly Preacher. His name was Hugh Vansel, and that's how we got to Lafayette, Indiana, was through him. He came here to start a church, and it was called the Creasy Lane Baptist Church, if you ever heard of that church. And then he started many churches through Tennessee and Kentucky, Michigan. I don't think there was anything in Illinois. Ohio, Bellevue, Ohio. When I was a little girl, I went to a Bible school there and I was baptized by my grandpa. I was very little. I think I was 7 when I got baptized. Anyway, so I've just given you a little bit more information about who I am. Okay, so that's how we're going to do that. And when we get these all done, we're going to put them in the oven and we're going to bake them. It says to put them in a 425 degree oven. So that's how hot you want your oven, and you want to preheat it. And I have it all ready to go. Now, it says to bake it, 18 to 20 minutes. My oven is a fairly new oven, and it seems like it's hotter because it's a convection oven. So it won't take as long in my oven. I've learned that. It took me a little while to figure that out. And then right at the end, you can turn it on broil if you need to get them more crisped up on top. So that's what I would do, but I would stand right there and watch it. Don't walk away because you don't want to burn them too much. You want to get them crisp without burning them. I'm looking forward to this little snack. It's one of my favorite things. Again, very low carb, very low calorie. I'm thinking I'm gonna make another dish soon, and it's kind of a chicken pasta casserole. I love chicken. Chicken's one of my favorite meats. I do like beef, but boy, beef's expensive now, don't you think? I don't eat too much beef. If you have a special recipe you would like for me to share with you, or to maybe figure it out myself before I do, because sometimes, you know, I may not have made it, but I've made quite a few things. So with all the friends that I have, which is a lot since I play pickleball, and I try to play pickleball every day, I thought about playing this morning, and then I thought, you know, I think I'll make a video. So instead, I'm doing this, but I might play a little tonight before I go to trivia with some friends. We like to go to trivia, and it's more for the socialization for me. I'm not all that bright about trivia, but once in a while I get an answer right. But we do have fun. A few of the people that go are pickleball friends. A few of the people are friends I've had for years. One of my friends, I've known her since I was working when I was in high school. We grew up in Mulberry together. And she's quite the cook. She could do this in a minute. She's Becky, the person that gave me those little orange measuring cups that I love so much. But anyway, I'm gonna see if we can get all these coated, and I'll be right back to you, okay? Okay, so I have everything all coated with my Parmesan cheese. It's been dipped in the olive oil, and they look delicious. I'm gonna put them in my oven. So I'll even let you watch me do that if I can get this to turn correctly. All right. All right, here's my oven. I'm gonna put it on the top shelf. Oven is all ready to go. I'm gonna set my timer for my oven. I'm gonna set it for about 18 minutes because like I said, it's a little bit hotter, but it says 20 to 25 minutes. So I'm gonna give that a go. When they get done, I'm gonna bring them out, let you see what they look like, and I'll have a taste and let you know how they did.